I'm sure by now it's been easy to realize that JCB is indeed a very large extension, and that what which is most obvious may only be a fraction of what actually is capable to be achieved with Joomla Component Builder. You can get JCB on your own Joomla website. Let me show you how. One of the places that would be a good option is actually the GitHub page of JCB. You can get the GitHub page by going to the Joomla Component Builder website and then clicking on either discussions or open an issue or even the wiki, and it will get you to this GitHub page. And once you're here on the main page, which is really this one, you can click on these releases here and actually find the latest release, which is this download JCB version 2. Well, it might have changed for some watching the video later. So you'd basically be able to use this link to install JCB into your own website. So going to your own website, you can go to extensions, install, and then from URL, paste that link in here and click on install. Another way, which is just as successful, is actually using the web install itself. So just give this a minute. It's a very large package, so it may take longer, and in some shared hosting it might not even be successful because of the size of the package. So now the other option would be to type in here JCB search, and you'll see that the first package that comes up there is JCB, and when you click on it, you actually find a path to install it. You click on install. We could just close this, and you see it basically fetched the same URL as which we used, and you can then click install again and it will install JCB in exactly the same way. So this shows you that the package comes from the same place. And at this point, you have all the power of JCB in your own Joomla website, which we always advise to be run offline. For that, we have tutorials in our training, and for the reason that it actually is a developing tool and it works best within a local integrated development environment, which is what an IDE is. And that brings us to the next question, which probably is also worth asking. What am I going to show you now? How to import an existing free component. That's one of the things I would like to show you. Also, how to change a view or add a view to a component in the in the JCB way. Then how to edit this component in your own IDE, which is your code editor. And then how JCB will remember that change you made. So that's what I would like to show you. It's just a little fraction of obviously what's possible. So let's get started. In JCB, we are going to use that component that O. Martin developed for his last year in college. And that component's name is eHealth Portal, which is actually a real project which is being made for a traveling clinic here in the north of Namibia. It's not finished, and so it's still in production in a way, or being worked on. But we'll be using that today for our demonstration, and we'll also therefore make it public. Everybody else can also look at it and use it and change it. So I showed to you the eHealth portal designed by, well, it was a collaboration of many, but mostly the work been done by O. Martin. And it is already available in the VDM packages. So you saw me on the dashboard click over here. Let me show you again on this import JCB packages. Then on the packages, we went to the VDM packages. This is then the e-portal that we want to install. So what are these? These are like blueprints of existing components that has been developed or is under development. And so this is a way for you to get packages which either you've built or others have built. Since it also has, you can also install these packages from a URL or from a directory, or upload them manually from your own computer. We'll be using this repository, and yes, you are welcome to check out the community repository and actually add some of your public packages there if you like. So getting back to what we're doing, importing this eHealth portal, it actually will take a while because it's a very large project. There is a way for you to get the key for that project. So if you clicked here on the, let me see, the bottom of the page, this get key from VDM, you will land on a page that actually explains to you how to get the key. I already got the key here, so I'm just going to paste it in here. And this, what component we are importing information seems correct. And we also always check the checksum that it actually agrees with what's found on this page here. And make sure that that is the https raw githubcontent.com, the actual page on GitHub. Okay, so now we import this package. So during this import, what is happening is we are putting the blueprint into this current JCB, which means that now all the fields that were created for this component, all the views that was created, everything that was done is now inside this Joomla website backend in this JCB extension. So if we would open this extension, you would see that it has all its admin views here, and it doesn't have any side views. And we are busy working on this queue area, which we're calling patient queue. There's still a lot of work to be done. And so it's a good tool that we could use to sort of demonstrate JCB. So this is the admin area, or rather the admin area of the component. So we're looking at the component settings and all the views linked to it. Now, there are lots and lots of tutorials, and I'll show you that at the end of this demonstration. Okay, so in the custom admin views, we will now see this patient queue, which is the actual area that we are now working on. And you can see there's also some code already been added here as we are trying out this or the other. I'm not going to try and explain to you all the intricacies of JCB today, just not enough time. But I'm going to show you that just taking a little string and adding it in here is going to show up on the front end of the site and give us the ability to work with it. So we'll say Joomla day USA. And maybe let's put that into H1 tags. I know this is generic, but it'll serve our purpose. And save and close. Now we're going to compile this component, which is where JCB takes all these things that has been done in the GUI interface and actually builds the component code on the fly. So the component code, the code that runs in Joomla, actually has not been generated yet. And we'll be doing that right now. So we don't need to put this in a repository or backup, which is part of things you'll need to learn and know what it's about. We'll choose the ePortal, make sure that this is our information is correct. We don't want custom code placeholders. Actually, you know what? This we want, because we want to show you how to edit this in the IDE. Now you need your custom code placeholders to edit code in the IDE. JCB automatically adds placeholders for you where areas of JCB in the GUI where you have been working on code gets placed in the project, so that when you then in your IDE go to that place, you can change that code and JCB will become aware of it and actually update the code in itself. So that's one of the round-trip development concepts which Marco mentioned earlier. Okay, the package has been built. That means basically 150,000 lines of code has been written. That within 6 seconds. So this is a little bit of the statistics that was also mentioned by Tom, which he finds quite interesting. I'm going to install the component here on this website, and then we're going to go to the IDE. In our IDE, we can now go to this component. Here it is. And we're going to go to the views. And then we are going to look at, let's see, what is it called? Patient queue, there it is. And we're going to open that area. So you saw me put in the code in the IDE, or rather in JCB's GUI. And so here is that code now. And you see that JCB added these comments. So basically JCB is saying this is a JCB GUI section. So this whole section from the beginning of this comment to the end of this comment, you'll see that it has a closing bracket. This section comes from a specific area in JCB. So we can actually change this code here by adding a diamond. Is it? A diamond in here where there was a dot. And then let's just say and more equals many. Okay, so that's a little change in the code we've added, and then we can go back to JCB. Well, obviously need to save this, so we've now saved it, and we can go back to JCB, and we can just compile the component again. Now this time I didn't compile it with those placeholders. So when we install it again now, those placeholders will be gone. So we're installing it again. Before we go to the IDE, let's go back to that view and let's look at the change. So it actually updated our GUI with the change, and more equals many. And now let's close out this and let's look at the IDE. And we see that our placeholder code snippet is now gone because we have now finished our edit, and here is our code that we've added from the IDE, placed back into JCB. Now this is the more convenient and easy way, I suppose, to work in the IDE. But what if you wanted to change an area which doesn't come from the IDE? So let's say we open this area here, and you may not like the way we set up this function in the display. Now, first of all, when that happens, I would ask you, come to GitHub, open the issue, tell us we're messed up, and help us fix it. We always want to improve the project, and when we fix it for you, we fix it for everyone. And can you see how that kind of collaboration can actually strengthen and enable many people to do good programming? Anyway, so let's say we want to make a change in this area. Maybe not something that's done wrong, maybe just something we want to add. I always advise developers to try and first do it in JCB, see if there's a place in JCB that can do this. But as a final result, we can actually add an insert set of code. So to add code here, we use what is known as the insert tags. So these two tags, as you can see, it has an opening tag and a closing tag. This is the closing part of it. I'm just going to use this code as an example and maybe change this to moon and then light, something like this. And so maybe that's the code I want to add into my project. And I couldn't find a place in JCB, and I wanted to add this code somewhere. So we've added the code, and we can now go back to JCB. Compile the project again, just like we did before. Once this is complete, we can install the component. And going back to our code, we see that our placeholders is gone, but our code that we've added, oh, sorry, I didn't change to the IDE. Our placeholders are gone, and the code that we've added remained intact. So JCB is able to remember by these code snippets, and there are a few, this insert, there's even an update, or a replace instead. And these code snippets can be used anywhere in PHP, HTML, and JavaScript. Now, just to show you what happened in JCB, which is also actually quite smart, going back to the GUI again, we have an area called custom codes. I'm going to open that. And you'll see that it now has this eHealth portal and a path to the actual file that was changed. If we open that file, we will, or not file, that item, we'll see that now there's our code. That's the actual addition we made. So we could come in here and say, Joomla rocks, save and close, go to our compiler and compile our component again. And this time around, we've actually edited our code in a place in JCB, which creates a little window into our code base in our IDE. And let's see, what is it saying here? Okay, that's not relevant. We install it. And we go back here and we see in the IDE, that's a protected word. Okay, it still moved the code. So we could see in the IDE that it added our changes that we made back into the code. And we can again here add more code in here. Oh, wait, it won't work. If we wanted to actually make it work, what we should do is just add placeholders like that, and compile the component again. So what it will do now is it will place placeholders back into the code again, so that we can make a change and not lose that change. So the placeholders is currently a convenient way to avoid a very big load of dependencies within this type of implementation. So now you can see it again added those placeholders. Oh, I need to show you in the IDE. It added those placeholders in for us. If we want to update our code, we need to add a diamond here. This is a little different because it needs a diamond to be added on the opening code and the closing code. And now we can actually, we can add that, save, and compile again. So just like we did with the earlier change we made to that one view, we add some code in the JCB area, then we went to the IDE, we changed the code, it reflected back into the JCB area. Now this has again happened. We have now again made changes in the IDE. If we go back to the IDE now, we see that those changes are remembered. They were not lost. And if we go back into Joomla again, into JCB, to the custom code area, we'll see that that custom code was again updated and reflects the changes as well. Now, this is just a little bit of a demonstration of the power of JCB. And I realized that JCB, once we move it over to Joomla 4, we are going to actually enter a period of the JCB community, which will be phenomenal. Because I know the actual progress that JCB brings to the maintenance path of any extension is really amazing. Every time since I started this project 5 years ago, or more or less, I've developed all my extensions, nearly 100 components at this point, in Joomla Component Builder. And every time Joomla made a change and many of my extensions were impacted by that, all I had to do was to go and improve Component Builder, Joomla Component Builder JCB, and compile those extensions, and all of them were immediately restored and able to function. And I could push updates to all of them almost simultaneously. So JCB has afforded me a tremendous advantage in the marketplace, and I really would like all of you to join in this this advantage, and that's really what I wanted to show you today. I think the one last thing that's quite important to mention is that we have actually started a JCB jug that is a Joomla component builder Joomla user group. That's a mouthful. And you're welcome to join us and start attending these sessions where I try to be there every time, answer questions, and we try to get someone in, give a nice talk, and to maybe confront some issue or even demonstrate some smart ideas that has been achieved with JCB. When you are using JCB, you'll see that there is a notice board next to the compiler area, which usually has the next date of the event. Let me change my. There we go. The next date of the event, the link to the room that will be used, the calendar. You can add it to your calendar, and when the next JUG meeting is about to, we try to schedule it every month so that we can always adapt around people's availability. So if you watch this area in JCB's compiler area, which is where most developers are very often, you will always be up to date to the JUG meetings. Otherwise, just joining this JUG newsletter on JCB's website, we will try to always update everybody and let them know when the JUG meeting will be the next, the next JUG meeting, and we will, we'll keep you posted. So that's really all from me today. Joomla Component Builder, truly an extension that has afforded me so many advantages that it's almost wrong. But I am very, very happy to see how it's also benefited other people, and the kind of things we've heard is just phenomenal. So I lastly want to mention a few websites if I can. I was gonna be finished, but then I remembered there's a few websites that people have given me a list here. Let's see, can I share that? I've got a list here of websites. Everycharacter.com. This is Marco's son, Marco Ding's son. He built this website having never done any PHP code before, having never worked with Joomla before, apparently done it from scratch and used JCB. So do check out that website. From looking at it, it's almost unbelievable what he has achieved there. Then this is another project done by Tom that also gave an interview here today, that project of his that he's been working on for this whole time, really very well done. Then there is also the eac.int website that they have a component which manages their documents, which for downloading and distribution. This was also built with JCB. And then some of these names here, I'm not sure if I'll pronounce them all correct. Real Places, Travel Safe. These are some of the websites that Emmanuel Danan has done. Some of them are already active and working, some of them are not. All My CMS is also a extension built with JCB. Then Staff Health CBP is one of the first extensions we built with JCB, and in fact this extension also helped fund a lot of the JCB development. So these are some of the there are many more. I just a few days before this event, I just asked a few people to give me some names so I could mention them here. And these are the names that I was given. Okay, so I think it's quite in order to open the floor for questions, right? So if there's any questions.